I'm going to try to go over Mage today. I have a little sheet of paper. I wrote down what I think I'm going to say, and hopefully that goes well. Mage, in my opinion, is kind of the go-to bread and butter class of CoffeeMud. It can go anywhere, it can do anything, it has very straightforward mechanics, and way too many abilities to ever keep track of properly. That last part tends to be an issue. I've been thinking over what I wanted to cover next and in what order, but planning all that out for a hobby of a hobby is too time-consuming for me to realistically commit to. I'm a broke college kid trying to balance, several out-of-school projects and a job, and this right now is not high on my priority list. I'm sorry. That being said, it doesn't take much time to discuss something I know like the back of my hand, so I'm just gonna do that. Maybe I'll cover specific subclasses at some point, but not right now. So first, character creation. During character creation, keep in mind that changes have been proposed to the current train practice system, so this advice might become obsolete at some point in the future, but I'll try to do my best. There are a couple key points to keep in mind. First and most obvious, intelligence will be your most important stat, by far. Not only because it determines your spell damage and your mana per level, but also because it increases how much proficiency you gain in your skills, which adds up quite quickly with the amount of skills your typical mage will be learning. For those who don't know, proficiency is your likelihood of a skill succeeding. So every ability starts with a certain amount, and that amount can be increased using practices with a teacher or by using that skill, that ability frequently. The amount gained per practice and the frequency a skill will improve with use are both determined by intelligence. The second most important stat, as with nearly all characters, is wisdom. Now, mages gain a lot more pracs per level than all other classes. All other classes do not gain as much as mage does. That being said, mage needs them. So try to keep that wisdom high. Constitution is third most important because you need to live, and health will help you do that. So dexterity and strength are probably about the same amount of importance. They help you during melee combat, which is not really something mage does. It helps in early levels, but in later levels, hopefully you will be able to cast enough spells that is not an issue. And of course, charisma, it decides group size and store prices. It doesn't really help that much for mages. You'll notice not a single stat here along this line actually increases anything based off of charisma. For how much you allocate to each one, obviously hit points and wisdom go off of an over 6, so you want a multiple of 6 for your wisdom and your con. For int, you want it about as high as you can get it. Strength, you just want an amount that helps you deal damage. And dexterity, an amount. You don't really need a specific amount for either of those, so just go with what feels best. So, on to the actual experience playing mage. You will start off wherever your race starts, and your number one first priority will be to practice up Magic Missile to 75% proficiency. Magic Missile, of course, being your level 1 way to deal damage. That being said, at level 1, you won't be able to cast more than one spell in a row. So, yeah, that's why I mentioned dexterity and strength, because you might need it. You will find the first few levels difficult. Mage is very clearly designed around its spells, and at level 1 and at the early levels, you just don't have the ability to use your spells. But if you persist, I assure you it is doable. If you absolutely cannot make progress, try to message me and I'll see what I can do. At level 4, you will receive Burning Hands. Burning Hands is a touch range fire damage spell. That's important because at level 7, you will get Fireball. And Fireball is a ranged fire damage spell, which works at every range except touch. At level 8, you will receive Lightning Bolt. This will be one of your best sources of damage for a long time as a new mage. It does decent damage, works at any range, and it's pretty low cost. I mean, you get it at level 8, and so that tapers off pretty quickly. Keep in mind that all spells will be expensive at their starting level, and that their costs will decrease as you gain levels to a minimum cost of 10. Those are all the spells I want to go over specifically, but I'll try to do a lightning round of all the spells that I think are most of the spells that I think are good for a base class mage. I can't go over everything. So, lightning round, Iron Grip, Blur, Summon Companion, Summoning Ward, Knock, Water Breathing, Frost, Mage Armor, Acid Arrows, Friends, all of the Weakness 2 spells, Dispel Magic, Detect Magic, Stinking Cloud, Meld, though that has a trick to it in order for that to be really good, Grace of the Cat, Charm, Detect Invisible, Refit, Detect Hidden, Fairy Fog, Identify Object, Flame Shield, Awe, Comprehend Languages, Teleport, Locate Object, Mute, Improved Repairing Aura, Stone Skin, Enlightenment, Fly, Haste, Giant Strength, Frenzy, Gate, Resist Paralysis. Gosh, where am I on the actual page? Stone Skin, Enlightenment, Fly, Haste. Ooh. Giant Strength, Frenzy, Gate. Okay. I think I know kind of where I am. Blink, Ensnare, Hold, Choke, Chain Lightning, Portal, Siphon, Reverse Gravity, Sea Aura, Web, Summon, Improved Invisibility. A lot of these are good too, but Nightmare, Improved Polymorph, Enchant Armor, Repulsion, Cloud Kill, Scry, Command, Immunity, Disenchant, Meteor Storm, Hungerless, Greater Globe, Detect Sentience, Thirstless, Frailty, Disintegrate, Geas, and Spell Turning. Oh, and Combat Precognition, and Dragonfire, and Time Stop, and Mind Block. I don't know if I went over those. This isn't obviously a full list of everything that I think is good, but those are ones that I think you should at least take a look at. I do not have nearly enough time to go over all of the spells that I think are good, even though I want to, but those ones at least should be looked at. I'm gonna go over expertises real quick, but keep in mind I play rather fast and loose with these since they're typically more of an afterthought for me, so if you do your own experimentation, you'll most likely come up with a better idea of them than I have. Still, There are expertises that increase your spells' level, which will generally increase your damage and allow you to affect higher level mobs. There are expertises that increase elemental damage, like the weakness 2 spells, but they're expertises instead. There are expertises that increase your spell's range, which I have yet to actually see increase any spells' range aside from certain divination spells. There are expertises that increase the length of your buffs/debuffs, and expertises which decrease the amount of mana your spells require by an insignificant amount by the time you qualify for those expertises. Anyways, that's about all I got for now. There's more info under the how to play section under the base mage class on the wiki if you want to see more, which I'll leave the link to in the description. I'd like to thank Valith for forever ago telling me some tips and tricks that I still use to this day. And with that, take a talk of CoffeeMud. Hopefully I'll see you in game.